Hello everyone, welcome to Vidhigya Xplained Series. Topic for today's discussion is IAS Cadre rules. The central government has proposed amendment to the IAS Cadre rule, and we will discuss the amendment, what is the current situation, and what are the proposed amendment, and why central government is amending IAS Cadre rules. So IAS Cadre rule of year 1954. Important points: current rules on central deputation, proposed rule on central deputation, why amendment in the central deputation rule, and what happens if there is disagreement between center and state. So current rules on deputation. The central deputation in the IAS is covered under Rule 6. So the amendment is related to central deputation of officers. The central deputation in the IAS is covered under Rule 6.1 of IAS Cadre Rules 1954, inserted in May 69. So what is the current rule? A cadre officer may, with the concurrence of the state government concerned and the central government, be deputed for service under the central government or another state government or under a company, association, or body of individuals, whether incorporated or not, which is wholly or substantially owned by or controlled by central government or by another state government. So a cadre officer with the concurrence, so a cadre officer can be deputed to central government with the concurrence of the concerned state government, with the concurrence of concerned state government. If the state government does not want to send, then it cannot send. Then it has the power that it, because we will discuss why in what way state government has the power that it can like overrule the central government's decision to not send the officer on deputation. So it is not a power, rather it is related to timeline, and since there is no prescribed timeline, therefore state can just keep pending the matter. So it can be deputed for service under central government or under state government. So it can be deputation to central government or to state government or to any company or association or body of individual, whether these are incorporated or not, whether these are wholly or substantially owned by or controlled by central government or by another state government, it does not matter. So you have to remember these things. This is from the rule. This is the rule. So you have to remember that for deputation, the officer can be sent to either central government or another state or under a company or association or body of individual, whether incorporated or not, which is wholly or substantially owned or controlled by central government or by another state government. So this is one thing that you have to remember, that which rule? Rule 6.1 of IAS Cadre rules. So what if there is a disagreement, like center says we need these many officers from your state for the central deputation, and state does not agree. State does not want to send, so there is a disagreement between state and center. So in this case, what happens? The matter shall be decided by central government, and the state government or the state governments concerned shall give effect to the decision of central government. So in this case, the matter will be decided by central government and state will give effect to the decision of central government. So then what is the issue? However, existing rules did not mention any time limit for deciding on such disagreement. So there is no timeline. There is no timeline to decide on such disagreement. So that becomes an issue, and central government wants a deputation officer, and because there is no timeline, therefore it becomes a problem, and center does not get the officer on deputation. So what are the proposed amendment? It enables the central government officers to seek services of all India services, that is IAS, IPS, IFS of Indian. This IFOS is Indian Forest Service and not Foreign Service. So under all India services, there are 3 all India services, that is IPS, IAS, and Indian Forest Service. And foreign services, central government, A category. The central officer posted in state even without the state's government consent. So proposed amendment says that central government can get the officer for central deputation without the consent of state government, without consent of state government. So this is the proposed, this is the change, this is the proposed amendment, that center now do not need the consent of the state. The center will be able to relieve an officer from their cadre if state government does not give effect to central government's decision within the specified time. So in earlier rule, there was not a specified time in which the state has to act. But now, if there is a specified timeline in which the state has to act on center's decision, and if state does not act, then central government can relieve the officer from the state, relieve from state. So these are the changes, that there is no timeline. In case of disagreement, center can relieve the officer from the state. In case of any disagreement, the matter shall be decided by central government, and the state government's consent shall give effect to decision of the central government within a specified timeline. So this we have discussed. So why amendment? What is the need of why there is a need for amendment? So various state joint cadres are not sending adequate number of officers for central deputation. So central government for its working need officers, and these officers come from deputation from states, deputy from states. There is a quota for every state. There is a quota for every state that you have to send this much x%. This have to x this A%, x%, y% to the central government for deputation for particular time period as part of central deputation reserve. Due to this, there is shortage of officer. However, state governments are not sending their quota, fulfilling their quota. State not fulfilling quota, and therefore there is shortage of officers for in central government. There is shortage of officer to meet center's requirement. That is why center is amending the IAS Cadre rule so that center can get the required number of officers on deputation. So reasons for shortage, why state governments are not sending, why there is shortage. So first reason is faulty cadre review. So cadre reviews in state, there are various kind of posts. For example, these are important position, very important position, and not so important. So these positions are generally reserved for IAS officer. However, the not so important in certain states, the not so important position are also reserved for IAS officer. And because of this faulty cadre review, the more number of IAS officers is required to in the state. So in this suggestion, there is a review the cadre system. So what it says, we need to review this faulty cadre system, and those positions which can be easily occupied by state government officers should not be restricted for directly recruited IAS officer. So in this case, this number of IAS officer will be there for central government deputation, CDR. So this is one issue. And then the second is state level IAS. So IAS, you become IAS through two ways. One is direct by clearing UPSC CSE exam, and another way is you become state civil services officer, and then you are promoted to IAS officer. So central government is only using IAS officers from this route and not from this route. So that's why there is shortage. So what are the suggestion? The 3-year service between 9 to 25 years of service. So every officer between their service from 9 years to 25 years has to go for central deputation for minimum 3 years. So you have to make it mandatory. Review quarter system we have discussed, and limiting restriction. So there are also cases where the officers do not want to go. Officers do not want to go because of various restrictions imposed by central government. So central government has to limit those restrictions in order to attract the officer to come for the central deputation. So this is all we have discussed. We have discussed why the current rules, the proposed amendment, need for amendment, and what is the reason for shortage, and what are the suggestions. So time for quiz. In which year IAS Cadre rules came into force? Your options are 1950, 1951, 1954, 1955. Correct option is 1954. IAS Cadre rule 1954. Which IAS Cadre rule is proposed to be amended? Rule 6.1, Rule 6.2, Rule 6.3, none of the above. Correct answer is Rule 6.1. Central Deputation Rule is inserted in which year? 1967, 1968, 1969, 1970. It was inserted in year 1969. Officers of which of the following services are not covered under All India Services? IAS, IPS, Indian Forest Service, Indian Revenue Service. The correct option is this. So, IAS, IPS, and IFOS, that is Forest Service under All India Services. Indian Revenue Services, central government services. Under the existing central deputation rule, timeline for the state to act as per the decision of central government is how many months? Your options are 3, 6, 9, none of the above. The correct option is none of the above. So that's all for this session. Stay logical with Vidhigya, your best pal in CLAT Preps.